What's the matter? Not drinking? Has your stupid, unrefined taste never experienced real food, so you can't appreciate the taste of alcohol? If you can't understand this, you're no better than a dog. You know that.
My boss poured beer all over my head and forced me into a humiliating prostrated position. The insanity of it all was about to drive me mad. I had worked for this company with the belief that I wanted to support people in trouble, but it turned out there was a devil among us. My name is Robert Parker. I grew up in a children's home until I was 18. My mother passed away in an accident when I was just 3 years old. I found out when I became an adult that my father, who had abandoned my mother who was pregnant with me at 20, had already married another woman and had a child before I was born. To my father, I was just an obstacle to his new life, so he discarded me. After the accident that took my mother, I had no place to go but to the orphanage. I don't know about other places, but I think the environment was good there. The caregivers were nothing like my deadbeat biological father. They often played with us, especially Jake Smith and his wife, Catherine, would go out of their way to prepare colorful, delicious homemade meals for us. Catherine, being an orphan herself, didn't want us kids to experience the loneliness she did, so she put a lot of effort into her cooking. Delicious omelets accompanied by crispy shrimp, adorned with playful tiny flags, or the fresh vegetables we prepared together right out of the farmer's market. I loved the times when we would all sit around and discuss school and friends over such meals. One time, Jake brought a gaming console for all the kids in the facility, and we played it late into the night until Catherine told us off, saying enough, go to bed now. Such fun memories. Considering my background, I believe I was very well educated. All thanks to the love and care of the Smith couple. Catherine must have had a pretty tough time in the past, because she still has a quote that stays with her to this day.
Even if people ridicule you for being an orphan, it doesn't determine your worth. Those who belittle others like that are the ones with impoverished hearts. As long as you have compassion, any life you lead is a good one.
Thanks to her, I grew up without any significant hardships or rebellious phases. The only concern was that I had to leave the children's home by the age of 18. Most kids went on to work, but I loved studying and wanted to go to college. As my 18th birthday approached, I became more reticent, which greatly worried Jake and Catherine. They wanted me to stay happy in the short time we had left together. The two faces staring at me looked worried. I didn't want to worry them either. Eventually, I opened up about my wish to attend college. But I'm already grateful for how you've raised me without any hardships, considering I was an abandoned child. I just wanted to share my feelings. I'll definitely work after turning 18, like my elder brothers here. Both of you, thank you. With that said, we had our usual joyful dinner that evening. Later, they shared astonishing news with me. There was a benefactor named Long Legs. He wanted to support my college education. The condition is that I report my college grades through the Smith couple, not to inquire about the true identity of Long Legs. I eagerly agreed. I studied intensely during the last phase of my high school years and managed to get enough SAT score to enter the university of my wish. Jake and Catherine were overjoyed at my achievement. They took me to an upscale French restaurant, keeping it a secret from the others at the facility. I had never known that every dishes could be so beautifully created and taste so delicate. It was an elegant world, unlike anything I had experienced before. While I cherished the meals we had, the joy and emotions of that day with them were unforgettable. As a college student, I stayed at Jake and Catherine's residence and commuted to college. The couple had no children of their own, so they cared for me as if I were their own son. During this time, I started referring to them as Dad and Mom. At some point after moving in, I discovered a massive burn scar on my adoptive mother's back. It was a severe burnt scar covering half of her back. She cheerfully told me, a long time ago, our house caught fire. My biological mother had also passed away in a traffic accident. I wondered if medical advances could have healed that scar or saved my birth mother. Thinking about this made me want to work for a medical equipment company. I studied rigorously during my 4 years at college and graduated as honored student. As a result, I landed a job at my wish of a company who produces cutting-edge medical equipment, offering new treatments. My in-laws were overjoyed with tears in their eyes. Therefore, the job was very much challenging. On one hand, I had to memorize a mountain of technical terms, and on the other, I had to deal with field work and support actual products. I was incredibly busy, but the job was rewarding. Thanks to the new products, I occasionally received gratitude from doctors and patients. It felt great. I wanted to support many more people with the new medical advancements, which unfortunately didn't come in time for my birth mother or adoptive mother. My adoptive parents would sometimes watch over me, their faces glowing with pride, as I worked with this mission in mind. Maybe I should start by giving back to them. Oh, when I get my bonus, I'll take them to that memorable French restaurant they once took me to. I can't wait. About 6 months passed, and my mentor-like boss, who guided me strictly yet kindly, was promoted to the headquarters. In his place, a new boss, Kyle, joined. Apparently, he was a rising star, freshly back from an overseas trip. I was looking forward to hearing his stories, but he turned out to be quite the character. Kyle went out of his way to dig up our resumes and never missed an opportunity to make sarcastic comments. He always spoke as if everyone else was inferior to him. The office atmosphere soured just by his presence, especially towards me.
How did a poor kid from an orphanage like you even manage to go to college? Did you scam your way through? I can't believe someone like you is handling our products. You're devaluing the company. You should just quit. You should prioritize fixing your rotten personality, which seems more focused on salary than actual patient care. I'm talking about you.
His comments were particularly harsh. I missed my previous boss, but I didn't want to think about switching jobs, especially when I had just landed one that could help others. After all, it was my adoptive father who had suggested this company out of the many medical manufacturers. Remembering my adoptive mother's teachings, I thought, what a pathetic guy who can't live without belittling others, and calmed my anger towards Kyle. One day, while enduring Kyle's torment, I finally received my first bonus. Kyle was teasing again, saying no money, no honey, Robert. Is he finding that funny? Kyle was annoying to other competent colleagues as well, but his interactions with me, the youngest in the department, were especially bothersome. Today, even though I never asked, he just keeps going on and on about going to dinner with his prized fiancée. Seems like she's the young and beautiful daughter of a well-known company.
You're so young, yet you don't have a single girlfriend. Poor thing. Look at me, on the fast track with the CEO's daughter as my fiancée. But then again, it might be impossible for someone like you.
Seemingly satisfied, Robert finally left the office. I need to shake off this feeling by 6 p.m. I had an important plan for the day. After all, it was the day I'd invited my adoptive parents to that special tempura restaurant. At 5:45 p.m., I straightened my suit, which my adoptive parents had bought for me, and opened the door to the restaurant. I'm Robert. I had a reservation. As I entered, a man and a woman were chatting cheerfully.
Kyle is so capable at work and so kind to me. He's truly wonderful. But that Robert, I wonder how long he plans to stick around in our company.
I think so too, Lily. We don't need poor people in a company where only elites gather.
To my surprise, it was Kyle and his fiancée. Why are they here? I was so shocked that I froze in place. When Kyle noticed me, our eyes met. This could turn into quite a situation.
Robert, what are you doing here?
I couldn't let this ruin the special occasion. I responded calmly. Today, I wanted to treat my parents with my first bonus, so I reserved this place. It's such a coincidence. Is she the fiancée you mentioned? Kyle's fiancée, Lily, with her stunning beauty and short haircut, gave me a disdainful look the moment our eyes met. It seemed she'd heard all sorts of rumors about me from Kyle. Oh, this is bad.
Aren't you a bit out of your league? That suit, that tie, looks pretty cheap. Do folks like you even understand the taste of a place like this?
Kyle started to mock me, just like he does at work.
Yeah, having some poor schmuck like you here just brings down the place's reputation, doesn't it? Don't be a nuisance outside of work. Well, since we're here, let me pour you a drink.
Kyle took an open beer bottle and aggressively poured it over my head. My prize suit, a gift from my adoptive parents, was completely soaked. Watching it, Lily laughed. Oh my gosh, suits you.
Tastes good, doesn't it? The first drink after work. Oh, what a waste spilling it on the floor.
You're Robert, right? I've heard about you from Kyle. Sneaky moves to graduate college. Grew up in an orphanage. Obsessed with money? Poor people are so uncivilized. Disgusting. You probably find Kyle's drink better than the muddy water you've been used to, right? It's a shame to spill it on the floor. Go on, lick it up.
What's the matter? Not drinking. Never had a proper meal, so your taste buds can't recognize good liquor. If you don't get this, you're worse than a dog.
Kyle grabbed my beer-soaked head, trying to force me down onto the floor. Kyle, please stop. My parents will be here soon. If they see this, we won't be able to enjoy our meal. Kyle scoffed.
Still on about that? Seeing your parents while you're this drenched? I'd lose it if I were in your shoes. Always being corrected like this in front of others. Do you enjoy showing your incompetence?
If only I could have said, the crazy one here is you. How much were my adoptive parents looking forward to today? How devastated would they be to see their son in this state? The moment I ran into Kyle here, I knew this day was ruined. I fell to my knees just as they wished, weak and defeated. Kyle seemed like the devil. He said with an apparent glee,
Bottom feeders from foster homes, go home.
Then, the restaurant door opened.
You, what on earth are you doing?
Standing there was my adoptive father. My adoptive mother followed, looking at me in shock. This is it. Kyle suddenly put on a thick facade, as if his previous behavior was all a lie.
Jake. Are you and your wife here for dinner? How about joining us at our table?
Jake, what's he talking about? My foster dad spoke in a cold voice I had never heard in 20 years.
Kyle, I'll ask you once more. What exactly are you doing?
Without a doubt, he was furious. A side of him I'd never seen. Kyle replied, visibly puzzled.
Whatever do you mean? Oh, Robert. He's the lowest of the low in our company. He said he was here for dinner with his parents in a place like this. So, I was about to kick him out. Adoptive parents, I presume, figures they'd be just as pathetic. Taking in some random orphan, what a waste. Come on, Jake, join us before this loser's parents show up.
We are his parents.
Kyle and Lily looked utterly bewildered. My adoptive mother stepped forward.
How dare you make my son look like a drowned rat?
Kyle began to panic.
You must be joking. I was told you had no children.
Still trembling with quiet anger, my adoptive father replied,
That's right. We don't have any biological children, but we have a son right here, whom we've loved more deeply than any blood relation, Robert, who you just called trash. is a far better man than you could ever be.
Drenched in beer, I asked, "Dad, Mom, what's this about being a chairman?" Once they were found out, they reluctantly told me the truth. My adoptive mother was raised in a wealthy Christian home. One day, there was a fire that burned down their mansion, and she lost her parents. When she almost lost hope due to the coldness and shallowness of people, it was my adoptive father who comforted her. Eventually, using the inheritance she had left, my adoptive mother founded the medical equipment manufacturing company that Kyle and I now work for. Both of them hold the position of retired chairpersons. The company, founded with the simple principle of wanting to help those in need, generated enormous profits from that sentiment. They quietly operated children's shelters and supported a foundation that helped children like me get a college education. Yes, the foundation that sent me to college was run by my adoptive parents.
Robert, we weren't showing off for being arrogant with what we did. We're just like you. We simply want to help those in need. I was truly happy when you told us you wanted to work for our company with the same sentiment. And if I said I was the chairperson, you, with your sharp intuition, would have realized that the foundation was run by us. We wanted you to choose your own path, Robert. That's all there was to it.
My adoptive mother continued,
Kyle, I really underestimated you. After being with us for 10 years, how could you mock someone who grew up in an institution right in front of me, who also lost her parents? It's a direct insult to our founding principle.
It was clear that Kyle had no way out. However, Kyle tried to worm his way in with a fake smile. It was Kyle who was obsessed with power and money more than anyone. Having been raised surrounded by kind staff at the children's home, it was my first time seeing someone cling to their current status so desperately and shamelessly. My adoptive father finally delivered the blow to Kyle. He was cornered by my adoptive mother to the point of pity.
Think of it as you not having a seat from tomorrow.
Kyle was devastated. Later, my adoptive parents heard everything Kyle had done to me, and an internal audit was conducted in my department. Given the testimonies from other employees who were verbally abused by Kyle and the fact that he had splashed beer on me, grabbed my head, all of which had been witnessed by the chairman couple, Kyle was punished. He was dismissed from his position, had to pay compensation to multiple victims including me, and his engagement was broken off. Lily, who was there, exclaimed, "Wait, what you told me was completely different. You lied to me."
Well, I have no use for someone who's off the promotion track, she declared, breaking off the engagement on the spot and leaving the restaurant.
My adoptive father laughed heartily, saying, "What a decisive woman." As a follow-up, my adoptive mother made a suggestion to the current president, and I was promoted to headquarters. They transferred me to work of my former boss. Meeting my decent boss after such a long time, he consoled me saying, "It seems like you've been through a lot. I'm glad you stayed and didn't quit." I almost cried. And today is the day for revenge. I wore the same suit I had just sent to the cleaners that day. The best outfit gifted to me by my parents, saying it suited me well. We chatted while enjoying fresh vegetables, fluffy fish, and delicious meals. Even in a place I used to think was for grown-ups, I no longer felt nervous. My father spoke up.
Robert, thank you for growing up to be such a fine young man. You're my pride and joy, working hard for so many people.
My mother was teary-eyed.
You studied hard in college, graduated at the top of your class, and now you're working at our company with the same ideals we have. I'm so proud.
I turned to them and expressed my gratitude. Dad, Mom, thank you for raising me so well. You both are my pride and joy,